Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Friday, February 1st. And so we're less than 2 weeks to the end of the season. The season ends on February 13th, and frankly, for our purposes, it'll probably be over. That's the 13th, so Wednesday. So by the 10th, the 11th, I mean, we'll be down to a final 5 by the 9th, 8th. So really a week from today, we'll get down to the final 5. And the show starts on Wednesday with 5 left. So we got 1 week left of real action that we can talk about and not just watch. So, yeah. Well, that's kind of good. I mean, I like it. I enjoy it. It's been really good the last couple of days. But at the same time, I'm exhausted, and I'm just like, no, God, I can't put my computer down. I can't walk away. I'm going to miss something, which is fun, but just stressful at the same time. We'll talk about that tonight on the Big Brother Gossip Show. Because tonight we are doing a Big Brother Gossip Show because we're not doing one tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will be a live eviction, and I'll be at a wedding, so I'd already said I wasn't doing a show tomorrow night, but it just happily happened that CBS scheduled a live show, so we're not going to do a podcast right in the middle of a live eviction. So we're doing it tonight, and we will talk about lots. And as I think I've said before, look, they're not covering a lot of the stuff that we talk about. They don't have enough airtime, if you can believe it, because they're too busy doing evictions and competitions and then the occasional silly, stupid thing. And honestly, they're probably doing the silly, stupid stuff because they don't have enough time to properly tell some of these stories that are going on. They don't have time to show the conflict between, to give the conflict between Tom and Ricky the attention it would kind of deserve to explain it fully. So instead they show Tom giving a tiny mini part of his house tour and playing around with a big platter like it's a spaceship. I don't know. So, what has gone on since yesterday? Power Veto meeting was held. We learned a little bit more about the Power Veto as well. It sounds like from some retelling, at least by Tom, that in it was a knockout competition, I think, where they would face off against each other. Like the dizzy ballerina bowling, that whole thing. Except for this time they were kicking a football. And Tom and Natalie actually faced off against each other. And Tom said he let Natalie win. Now, that doesn't mean that Tom was going to win. Maybe we'll be able to tell from the show. But in Tom's mind's eye, he let Natalie win. So that means, and Natalie's the one who actually ended up winning it, because Lolo says she let Natalie win. Now, who's to say, A, that Tom actually let Natalie win? I don't know. Or was Natalie going to win either way? I don't know. And then, let's say that Tom did win and beat Natalie. Would Tom have beaten Lolo? There's no way to know, because Lolo says she let Natalie win. Lolo was claiming she was kicking with her left foot and she's right-footed whenever things were close. I don't know. What I do know is that Natalie won, and Natalie didn't use it, which is not apparently what Tom expected. Tom expected Natalie to use the Power Veto. So that was a bit of a blindside, I guess. Did I know that Natalie was supposed to use it? I'm not. It just was weird. Now, I watched some of this conversation yesterday, and I don't even think we'll even talk about it on tonight's show, and because we don't have the clips. And sometimes if we don't have a clip for something, if we haven't had a chance to get the clip, we don't talk about it, and things get missed. And then I ended up talking about it, and it confuses both Scott and Colette because they didn't see it or they didn't see that part. And yeah, so I say this now, watch I won't mention this tonight. But Ricky had this conversation. So Tom expressed to Ricky that he was kind of surprised at the way the power veto went, that he thought that Natalie was going to use it and she didn't, and he didn't understand why. And Ricky's like, well, why didn't you guys, talk? You had all day to talk to them. Why didn't you talk to them, Tom? You're kind of the... And Cato was in the room. He said, now, Cato, I thought you're not the leader, but Tom, you're kind of the leader. You should have talked to him, and you didn't. Why didn't you? And he said, I think they were waiting to talk to you all day, and it just never happened. Blah, blah, blah. So Ricky said all this, and then I believe this is how it went. They decided they were all meeting in the back room. They weren't initially going to meet in the back room, but then suddenly they were all ended up in the back bedroom. And they said, hey, let's go sit up and talk. And they had a household room. And so they kind of, but let's not do it all at once. So let's kind of spread out. So Tom and Cato immediately head off and head upstairs. You dummies. They basically said, we'll go up and wait for you. Okay, so let's go up and wait for them. And you guys can get your story straight downstairs before you come upstairs. That's what happened. Ricky pulls Natalie, and it says, or it could have been Lolo. It says, this is what I just told them. So you know what to say when you go upstairs. They were complaining that you did this, and I kind of defended you, and I said this. I made this as your excuse. So use this as your excuse because that's what they're expecting, and that will all make sense to them. I mean, Tom and Cato have kind of made it easy for the others to manipulate them because they've started to isolate themselves and spend a little bit too much time talking with each other, going over different scenarios. So I don't know if I watched the eventual 5-person conversation because I believe real life kicked in at that point and I couldn't. I had this work thing because it was at night. It was last night, but I ended up working for like 3 hours last night doing some stuff. So yeah, I didn't get to see the actual room conversation, but I'm pretty sure that it went better for Natalie and Lolo and Ricky than it did for Tom and Cato. They just aren't. It's just been a comedy of errors. Now, I'm going to make a prediction here for those of you listening, and again, sometimes I tell you guys things that maybe I'm sharing with just you, but of course, a lot of you guys listen to our regular podcast, and I'm sure a couple of you may even choose to occasionally say, Mike just said this about you. So I'm saying this knowing full well that it probably will get back to Colette, okay? But I prefer it didn't, just because I don't want to see much stirring the pot. I'm really not. I'm just making a prediction. This is just in my mind's eye the way I think something will go. See, my take on all of this is that it's not necessarily that Tom and Cato are terrible players, but it's just been a crappy time to be a head of household. I think if Lolo was head of household, things could have gone just as bad for her in a different direction. I'm not sure about Natalie, but I think Natalie is to Cato as Lolo is to Tom. How's that? Maybe I'll use that tonight. And I do believe that if Lolo had been head of household, that it would have been a train wreck for her as well. Now, the thing is, I don't know if I think Ricky still would have been working with them, and Ricky is kind of a grounding force for them, whereas Tom and Cato do not have a grounding force. I mean, Lolo and Natalie kind of look at Candy and Dina as their Ricky, but they really aren't. Ricky is a much better ally than Candy, who isn't really doing much, and Dina. Now, the one that's pulling. So there you go. So you got here. You go in the. You're gonna have to take Joey out of this mix. But let's pretend Joey's not in the mix. If you look at Natalie and Lolo as kind of a core, and then you throw in Ricky and Tamar on Natalie and Lolo's side, and then you look at Tom and Cato as a core, and you throw in Dina and Candy on the outside. I think Dina and Candy are, while they're less volatile, they're also less savvy. So the question is, do you take a less volatile, less savvy duo as your kind of second two, or do you take a much more volatile, much more savvy duo as your second two? And I think for Natalie and Lolo, it's worked out to have that much more volatile, much more savvy pair. And then the fact that Tom and Cato have nominated Tom and Cato have nominated Joey. He's been drawn to that other side, those other four. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we got 4-4. You got those four and those four. That's 8. Plus Joey is 9. And there's been 3 evicted, right? I'm sorry, I'm trying to think out loud. I'm thinking out loud to myself. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anybody in the house. So, Mooch left. Ryan left. And who was the last one out? Wow. I'm having a total moment here. Pardon me. I'm going to come back and sound really confident, but I'm having a moment, and I feel stupid for having the moment. Oh, yeah, Jonathan. That's how I get to 9. All right. Jonathan's out, too. So Mooch, Jonathan, Ryan. That's your 9. So you've got 4, 4, and 1. That works. So you've got those 4, plus Joey is the 1. Okay. Works for me. If I were to make an alliance chart today, the problem is we'll have a live eviction tomorrow. Maybe I'll make one today if I don't know if I have time. But I would definitely say, I will use this theory tonight. I will use this theory tonight on the way the house is working out. So you've got Natalie and Lolo, and they have kind of aligned at this point with a very savvy yet volatile pair. And Cato and Tom had kind of aligned with a fairly mundane pair. Yep. Works for me. And then Joey has gravitated towards the 4 that are not in power and did not nominate him. Works for me. Yep, I like that. I like that whole grouping. All right, that's if I were able to do an alliance chart right now, it would actually be 2 sets of, it would be 2 pairs with 2 people attached to each of those 2 pairs, and Joey not leaning towards one pair, but not firmly aligned with anybody, which is he doesn't like alliances, right? All right, that works. All right, I'm done thinking out loud to myself. Thanks for helping me workshop this alliance chart, which I probably won't get to. But if I did, now you know what it would look like. So, back to what I was saying a little bit ago. Tonight's podcast. I know without a doubt that Colette is going to have a heyday poking fun and just hammering Tom's gameplay and their alliance. And I will try to defend that in saying that, look, if Lolo was head of household, it could have been just as disastrous for her. I'm leaning towards thinking that Colette will disagree, and at that point I will probably give up trying to argue with her because there's just no point. And I'm telling you, these are the thoughts that run through my head. Some people ask me when Colette and I have discussions, why maybe I let her win or I just don't fight. There's a point where you just go like, not worth it. I know what I know, and that's how I feel. And so, yeah. So, yes, and believe it or not, these are things I think about. So I play my own little world of Big Brother where I overthink, overanalyze. I'm preparing for the show and what we're going to talk about, and here I go. All right, so see what happens tonight on the Big Brother Gossip Show. As far as, so Ricky, so that 5 went up there and talked to Ricky. Yes, we're back on discussing this stuff now. They went up, or the 5 went up and had a discussion. I don't even know how it went. Then they broke out the wine. Then wine came out. and there was a drinking. And Dina got drunk, apparently. Now, I have not seen any of this. I have only read various reports of what happened. And Dina got drunk, and then Dina and I guess Candy kind of got into it, which, there you go. There's your like I said, these two are kind of on Tom and Cato's side, and yet they got into it with Cato in the room. It's just messy. And, a little bit earlier, too, there was also a conversation where they're all lying to each other, and they all know that the other is lying. So there's this weird dance going on where Tom and Cato are saying things to Ricky, but they don't trust him at all. And Ricky's obviously completely lying to them. And so it's almost a game of, who eventually, calls the other out, or who eventually admits they're lying. And I think it's just all going to come out when the eviction happens tomorrow night. And so, yeah. I mean, it's been a fun show to watch. It's nowhere near anything like last year's Celebrity Big Brother. And I'm not saying it's just different. I can't even at this point remember, it's just, it's messy, it's rough, it's cutthroat, and yet at the same time, and that's the other thing I would say, and I wanted to get the audio, and I don't have the audio, and I don't know if Scott will get the audio, but several times Tom has made the comment that, look, he's playing a game that is either going to just blow up gloriously in his face and be great TV, or he's going to do well and it'll be great TV. He doesn't know where it's going to go, and I don't think he's that committed to the game. I think deep down he would really like to do well and win it, but at the same time he's prepared to completely lose it, or he says he is, and we just take his word for it. I would also say one other thing, that I think the two most camera-aware people in the house are Tamar, definitely, and Tom. Tom's very camera-aware. So, and I've said, I've been hammering on Tamar that I don't like her, the amount that she deals with the camera and plays to the camera. And the same would go for Tom. I'm not crazy about the people that are super camera aware, but I don't think Tom acts for the camera. I just think he's extremely camera aware. If you can understand the line there. All right. I may have talked about that yesterday, but I may have done it on my Periscope too. Yesterday's Periscope completely devolved into a race thing, and the fact I've been getting a lot of flack from Tamar fans for the stuff I said about, how I think her sister's Twitter account helped her win, and I'm not going to go with. I'm not getting off on a course with that here. Okay, just so you know, no worries. You want to see that? Go to the Periscope. It was a good 20-minute at least discussion about racism and how, like, someone myself, a white male, I can't understand certain things. It was good. It wasn't much about Big Brother, but it was good. But I'm not doing any more about that right here. Back to the show. So last night, drunken Dina got in a bit of a fight with Candy, said some things. Cato was just like, oh my God, I can't tell you anything. There was also, like, she was talking with Tom and Ricky started coming up the stairs to the head of household, and she dashed out and went to her, went and pretended she was working out, and Ricky totally knew that she wasn't, and it's kind of comical to watch her dash into the workout room and start kind of working out, and then Ricky kind of like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I've been working out for 20 minutes. And he's like, oh, really? And he's thinking, no, you haven't. You're lying. It's not good. I mean, what is Dina's talking with Tom going to do in the end? Very little. And yet they wanted to conceal it from Ricky. And is Ricky, what are you going to, I mean, you're still going to make you paranoid. It's like, why are they hiding this from me? Obviously, they trust Dina more than me if they want to hide this conversation from me. So, unless, you walked in and talked to Tom and said, oh yeah, I was talking to Dina and she didn't want to see us, so she dashed out sillily. That might reassure Ricky a little bit. I don't think that happened, but I don't know. It looks like it was an extremely entertaining night to watch the feeds with the alcohol flowing. I, however, was unable to. and I can only go up by what people said. So where are we at now? Well, the power of veto was played. Natalie didn't use it. Tom was surprised by that. That's what set up last night's more paranoia craziness. Tamar still has not dropped any Tamar has not dropped any indication whatsoever that she has the power, and we know she does. So, yeah. Yep, that's where we're at. I think I'm done talking about it. I think we're just waiting for tomorrow's show, and we're going to do a live podcast tonight, so I need to save a little bit for tonight. I don't think anything's going to happen today. There'll just be more of the drama, more of the going around and around. There's nothing's going to change. It could blow up even worse for Tom and Kato, because everyone's just kind of sick of it. And now they all know. I mean, at this point, Tom or Joey is in with them. The only two people that aren't on board of going up against Tom and Kato, I think, are Candy, who's not even going to be in the house after tomorrow night because Candy's going, and Dina, who's got nothing. So Tom and Kato may not be as surprised tomorrow night now. Maybe even less so after today, depending on how today goes. But that's where we're at. We'll see what the day holds. We'll talk about it tonight. And, brand new show opening tonight, I think. I think Scott's got the celebrity edition of the Big Brother Gossip opening ready to go. So there's one more reason to tune in tonight, just for the first 2 minutes if you don't want to listen for any other reason, if you want to hear a bunch of silly clips of house guests. And I spent a lot of time gathering a lot of these clips, and I'm going to guarantee you 9/10 of them will not be used. Some of them were not worthy of being used in an opening, but we were grasping for voices from, I don't know if we have anything from the Mooch. Probably not. Maybe Scott went and pulled something from the pre-actual live feeds. I don't know. And Kato wasn't very good at giving clips, if you can believe it. So, that's what's up. All right, I'm done talking. Time for me to get ready to pull into my parking garage and upload this in a few minutes. Hope you guys have a good day. Remember, live show tonight. We'll talk to you later. Adios. Bye-bye. Oh, you know what? One last thing. Don't forget, patrons, if you like the Big Brother Gossip Show, please sign up. I've got to print out my list of Patreons for my CarCast for this, and I haven't done it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And I will do that this weekend. Yes, I will. All right. I'm done. Goodbye. See ya.